In my personal life, I've been working real hard to let go of the past so I can move on into the future. That is a lesson that Mr. Bobby Brown would do well to learn. What I'm referring to, and I actually made a video about this a few years ago that's no longer up, but apparently, and this is really old news, but I'm reiterating this. Apparently, in the new special on BET about the life of Bobby Brown, the biop, the actor that plays Bobby Brown and an actress that portrays Janet Jackson reiterates a story that he put into his biography book about a sexual encounter, an alleged sexual encounter. Let me rephrase that. An alleged sexual encounter between Bobby Brown and Janet Jackson back during the 1980s. This would have been the beginnings of Janet as the Rhythm Nation woman. And Bobby Brown, of course, was riding high with Don't Be Cruel and all that. In the situation, Bobby Brown implies Janet, who was a married woman at that point, and Bobby Brown had a one-night stand, basically, while on the road. Well, Bobby Brown claims after they finished having sex, Janet more or less was like, look, that was good, thanks, but you know I'm married, and I'm not gonna leave him for you. Or something to that effect, or something along those lines. Basically, he had a big crush on her, and some say he still does. But Janet wasn't having it. She was like, hey, thanks for the sex, but nah, me and you, as far as an item, that ain't happening. Well, Bobby Brown alleges that he threw her out of his hotel room, basically butt naked. Of course, now it's rephrased. Basically, all but her underwear was on her. Basically, she was naked except for her drawers. And my personal take on that story, first of all, why do you need to reiterate that story years from now? By the way, Janet has neither confirmed nor denied it. She hasn't spoken on it, which is probably a wise move on her part. But I'm like, why are you bringing this up now? This would have been like late 80s. So we're talking like almost 30 years ago, and you're bringing this up just basically to get views, I guess. And my thing is, this is my personal opinion. I wasn't there. I don't know. He could be full of crap. He could be telling the truth. But my personal gut feeling is that he's telling the truth, but only a partial truth. Do I think him and Janet Jackson had sex? Possibly. Because let's be honest, despite that good girl image, we have seen, especially in the 90s, Janet can come off to being a bit of a freak. And after the little rumored stories that her second husband, Renee Alonzo, threatened to reveal about, and there was stories about possibly affairs while she was on the road in the Velvet Rope tour with both the male and female dancers of her troupe. Now, like I said, possibly, and they're alleged rumors, so I don't know if they're true or not. But would I be that shocked? No. But getting back to the story, do I think the two had sex possibly? Yeah, my gut feeling says yes. But as far as him throwing her out of the room, basically butt naked, no, I don't know if I buy that. I don't think I buy that. I think Bobby Brown is trying to save face because some say, like I said earlier in the video, that he has had a crush on Janet for years. Some say he still has a crush. Some say he had it even when he was married to Whitney Houston. Almost said Whitley. To the late Whitney Houston. He still had one. So, in my personal opinion, I think he's only telling a half-truth. Without seeing any solid evidence, my gut feeling is he's only telling a half-truth. Do I think they had sex? Most likely. Do I think he really threw her out the bedroom butt naked, except for drawers? No. I don't buy that at all. I think he was hurt, and he felt rejected. And you got to remember, both of these people were in their 20s. Like mid to late 20s. They were young. So he probably couldn't handle the rejection. And to be honest, putting myself in Bobby Brown's shoes, I probably would have felt the same way. I don't know. I know I wouldn't have gone that far. I would have felt rejected for a while. But at the same time, I've been like, well, I did. I probably would have got over it, but it probably would have been a few weeks. Whereas older Irvin now, if that would have happened, I'd have been over it by the next day. Because I was like, hey, I threw my shot. She didn't want it, but hey, I got to knock boots with Janet Jackson, so at least I got something out of it. But I don't buy that he really threw her out of the room butt naked, though. I do think they did have sex. Probably a fling, but for him, it was more than that. But to her, it was just some, shall we say, and I'm going to be a little scientific, but you get what I mean. Basically, it was pee-pee in a glass case is basically what it was. It was some manhood in a glass case. Her man was at home. She was horny. Whatever she was using wasn't getting it done. So, and she knew Bobby had the hots for her. So she said, you, come here. Boom. Probably dragged him to the hotel room, and they did what they had to do. But for her, it was just relief. For him, it was more, and she didn't want to go there. Just my personal opinion. I'm out. And Bobby, man, let it go. Let it go, dude. At least you could say you humped Janet Jackson. How many men in this world can say that?